Okay, let's go. We are starting now our next panel about space society. Thanks so much for the presence here of Adriano Autino, also from Space Renaissance Initiative, also other participants here to watch the presentation of Adriano. Adriano, thanks so much for your interest and also support to Space Habitat event, also co-realizer of the Space Habitat event, okay? Thanks so much.
Muito obrigado, Julio. Desculpa que eu não falo português, therefore I will go ahead in English.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Good.
okay. Let me try to share my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Yes,
Okay.
Adriano is not. Now it's full screen. I'm starting the recording. Okay, good luck. Starting now. Okay.
Okay. So, first of all, I bring you the greetings from Space Renaissance International. It is one of the co-organizers of this Space Habitat event, the Space Renaissance Latin America and Brazil. I'm very happy to be here with you and honored, and thank you for inviting me. My presentation is about living and working in free space, a choice of freedom. And why space and why now? Earth, our magnificent home, approaches 8.5 billion inhabitants. We cannot make it anymore on just one planet. Everything we make increases the anthropic pressure, worsening both social and environmental conditions. The quality of our life is worsening. An unbearable cultural decay is already on its way to bring humanity back to the dark ages of our history. In such a situation, cowards and ego-psychotics will remain in the narrow, closed territory of Earth, fighting and killing their brothers for the possession of scarce terrestrial resources. The most brave and generous will move outside to find the new resources for everybody. Such heroes who put their own lives at risk facing the unknown will be called the space settlers. Yet, where should we live in space? Most popular visions imagine colonies on planetary surfaces like the Moon or Mars. Exciting scientific endeavor, yet there is a better way, focusing on human well-being, freedom, and creativity. Habitats built in free space, rotating, self-sustaining orbital worlds designed to simulate Earth's gravity and sustain rich human communities. This vision offers not just survival in space, but a thriving, beautiful, and free human civilization. Living in a free space rotating habitat as designed by Gerard O'Neill in his book, The High Frontier Human Colonies in Space during the 1970s, is very much better than living on a planetary surface. For the sake of a quick space economy growth and of a profoundly enhanced quality of life, in a broad meaning from safety to health to well-being and a glorious life experience. Developing the geolunar space in the short and mid-term versus Mars and other options should have priority, if and when we could afford to do both. But I think we can do both, of course. Not for a long time if we don't start civilian space development, relaunching the world global economy in this way. Among the main advantages, simulated gravity for human health and psychological needs, sunlight energy continuously available, the habitat can be moved away from incoming killer cosmic objects. In essence, on-air habitats represent the continuation of the Enlightenment and Renaissance spirit. The belief that human reason, ethics, and creativity can shape environments that preserve freedom, dignity, and beauty. In 1969, the physicist Gerard O'Neill asked his Princeton students, "Is the surface of a planet really the right place for an expanding technological civilization?" The answer was no. Other visionaries discussed the concept of habitats rotating in free space. Werner von Braun, Rotating World Space Station, 1952. Arthur C. Clarke in 1954 described orbital islands in the sky supplied by materials launched from the moon. Darrell Romick, 1956, proposed a giant space station functioning as a colony. NASA Stanford Torus at Stanford University in 1975. Dandridge Cole, 1963, imagined macrolife habitats carved from asteroids. Michel Michaud, in Reaching for the High Frontier, 1972-84, A History of the Space Advocacy Movement. Kraft Erike envisioned Androchels, mobile colonies expanding civilization into space in Astropolis and Androcells papers collection in the early and mid-1970s. Erike prioritized lunar industrialization first through his concept of Serenopolis before moving on to free space settlement. Living on the moon or Mars means adapting to alien hostile worlds that inherently restrict human flourishing and therefore quality of life. For the sake of human survival and flourishing in space, we shall push our look and design well beyond survival and safety. Habitats shall be beautiful, ergonomic, large and comfortable, and designed to offer a high and glorious, flamboyant lifestyle. Green and water should be abundant and shaped in a harmonious style. These requirements hold the same priority of safety and construction robustness. Beauty and art are the essential of civilization. If we build sterile, purely functional habitats, we would export only survival, maybe, not culture. A humanist vision of space demands that we carry into orbit the full richness of human experience, joy, creativity, love of form, and the pursuit of happiness. Ultimately, free space habitats offer unmatched advantages: adjustable gravity, permanent sunlight, mobility to avoid cosmic hazards, and the freedom to create environments shaped by human ideals of comfort and beauty. The debate between surface first and free space first approaches continues today. Living on a planetary surface, say surface advocates, humans would receive only half of the radiation they could receive in a free space habitat. Yet, radiation exposure on planetary surfaces is enough to kill us, since neither the Moon nor Mars has a protective magnetic field. On-type habitats can achieve equal or better protection through layers of regolith, water shielding, or even artificial magnetic fields, solution applicable to both planetary and orbital environments. Are resources on planet only? While the moon offers metals, oxygen, and water ice, asteroids provide vast quantities of similar resources. It will be possible to work on planetary surfaces and live on free space habitats at 1G. Industrial operations could occur on the surface, but humans would live in comfortable orbital habitats, commuting for work only temporarily. Processing raw materials is often more efficient in microgravity within the central industrial hub of rotating colonies. Energy concerns were also addressed. Critics claim that future fusion reactors will make solar energy obsolete. Yet, until fusion becomes practical, continuous solar power in space remains superior, especially in the inner solar system. Even when fusion becomes viable, reactors can be installed aboard free space habitats. Helium-3 from the moon will be valuable but limited, while space-based solar energy is abundant and reliable. Planetary surfaces, though useful for mining and exploration, impose harsh limits on health, movement, and creativity. Thus, the O'Neill model remains the most promising path for civilization next stage, one that combines technical feasibility, economic potential, and a humanist vision of freedom and growth. People shall be free to choose to live on the moon or Mars or in artificial rotating and artificial worlds. Over the past decades, hundreds of astronauts have lived for months and sometimes a full year aboard orbital stations such as the International Space Station. These missions have generated vast data on the effects of prolonged exposure to microgravity and radiation on human health. The evidence is clear. Long stays in space cause profound and sometimes lasting physiological changes. Astronaut Scott Kelly's one-year mission on the ISS from March 2015 to March 2016 provided one of the most comprehensive studies of human adaptation to space. In Endurance, Kelly describes the harsh effects of microgravity and radiation on his body. His experience highlights a central challenge. These effects must be mitigated before civilians can safely live in space. Countermeasures such as simulated gravity through rotation and effective radiation shielding are achievable. Prolonged isolation and confinement in space may dull human motivation and emotional engagement. Psychological resilience shall be addressed as carefully as physical health. Space settlers cannot be people broken by their experience, nostalgic for Earth yet unfit to return. Space habitats shall be designed not to host astronauts, yet to allow resident guests to work and live their normal lives as if they were on Earth. Space life shall not only be safe, but also beautiful, funny, and even better than life on Earth. Therefore, we are not just talking about life-sustaining systems, but also about life glorification systems. Enough space is to be allocated for private flats, endowed with all commodities such as kitchens, restrooms, showers and bathtubs, bedrooms and living rooms, common spaces, big meeting rooms, squares and agoras, maximizing ergonomics with different colors and decorations according to the use, meeting, entertainment, sport. Individual and multiple seats to be placed everywhere to favor individual and shared relaxation, isolation, and conversations. Relaxing environments should have a good priority. Habitat environments should never communicate any pressure or anxiety. Colors should be relaxing. Big pictures should be on the walls, soft lights, armchairs, and sofas should be everywhere in the common spaces to encourage people to sit down together and talk, drinking or eating something. Viewing or not viewing outer space should always be available to the choice of individuals and groups. So the point is that space habitat design should be oriented to a quite different paradigm nowadays. If we talk about civilians, civilians need redundancy, need to live in a beautiful environment. A green environment should not only be conceived for food growth and oxygen reproduction. Vegetable, beautiful life and gardens should be present everywhere in the habitat, surrounding inhabitants with typical Earth's biome, including selected animals varieties. Although strictly committed to its exploration-only mission, NASA recognizes the importance of plant life in accompanying as humans on our journey through space, not only for food and breathing needs, yet for psychological well-being, as abstracted from a recent article. We will want to bring plants in space for both aesthetic and practical reasons. Fresh flowers and gardens on the International Space Station create a beautiful atmosphere and let us take a little piece of Earth with us. They are good for our psychological well-being on Earth and in space. They will also be critical for keeping astronauts healthy on long-duration missions. A lack of vitamin C gave sailors scurvy. Vitamin deficiencies can cause many other health problems. Taking multivitamins will not be enough to keep astronauts healthy in space. They need fresh produce. Right now, on ISS, astronauts receive regular resupply shipments of a wide variety of freeze-dried and prepackaged meals to cover their dietary needs. When traveling for months or years without resupply shipments, vitamins break down over time, a serious problem for Earth. NASA is looking at ways to provide astronauts with nutrients in a long-lasting, easily absorbed form, freshly grown fresh fruits and vegetables. The challenge is how to do that in a closed environment without sunlight or Earth gravity. Water is a fundamental item of human life on Earth, not only to support biological life, but real water is also necessary as a surrounding scenario. Lakes and rivers should be allocated in the habitats. A green environment is paramount in any space habitat. Learning how vegetable life works and reproduce or does not reproduce itself is a key challenge on the roadmap to space settlement. Equal attention should be paid to water. As we couldn't live without green environments around to feed our body and our mind, we couldn't live without large amounts of water and the life contained in them. We will need we'll need lakes and seas in space habitats, be they large on-air infrastructures or planetary villages. Dinis Ribeiro, a Portuguese space researcher, conducted deep studies about the need to develop a culture of water in space. Observing how nature works, small quantities of water will not be enough to cultivate the growth of self-supporting ecosystems in artificial environments. Large amounts of water will be necessary. Life develops itself like roots in the underground, sniffing water and ramifying to self-feed with water and nutrients. Vast seas will be possible in large spinning space habitats in free space following the on-air model. The necessity of beauty, ergonomics, and well-being is absolute. Living in space doesn't mean merely scraping by on bare essentials. True life demands beauty, comfort, and places that nurture the soul. Consider the profound effects of surroundings on mental and emotional health. Studies on Earth show that access to nature, daylight, art, and spaces designed with human ergonomics improves well-being, reduces stress, and boosts creativity. In space, these elements become even more vital as we are far from Earth's gentle rhythms and large ecosystems. I envision habitats filled with lush gardens made of native earth plants and genetically adapted flora, tranquil water pools, and arboreal pathways shaded by artificial sunlight precisely calibrated to nurture life without harm from radiation. Homes are spacious with natural light beaming through vast windows that frame endless stars or the shining earth. Public halls showcase local artists alongside virtual reality experiences connecting residents to Earth's natural wonders. Ergonomics means that every chair, table, and doorway is designed for ease and comfort. Sport arenas, quiet meditation pods, art, laser, and beauties are not superficial frills but essential tools to transform space settlement from sterile outposts to true homes of thriving human civilization. The well-being of inhabitants depends on creating environments that feed both the body and soul. Freedom of choice is a human right. Without freedom, the dream of space settlement risks producing not pioneers but exiles, trapped by the very environment they sought to conquer. Freedom of choice is a human right, the cornerstone of human dignity. Peter, a fantasy character, is one of many pioneers who decided to leave Earth for a brighter future in space. Peter joins a colony on the moon full of hope and courage. But over time, the moon's weak gravity takes a toll on his body. His muscles weaken, his bones become fragile. When the urge to visit home grows, Peter confronts a painful reality. Returning to Earth's full gravity could kill him. His journey to space has become a one-way trip. As a minimum, he would be constrained to a wheelchair and receive rehab therapy for a long period. Humans must always retain the freedom to choose where they live, to come and go without being trapped by biology, technology, or politics. This freedom is a fundamental human right and the foundation of dignity. When we decide to go outside, to live in a space community, none of our human rights should be disregarded or denied. By spinning at just the right speed, these massive structures create simulated gravity close to Earth's 1G. This preserves human health, muscles, and bone strength. Settlers like Peter would never face the cruel choice of being trapped on a low gravity world or suffering serious harm on Earth. People can freely migrate to and from space communities, allowing space settlement to remain reversible, voluntary, and human centered. Freedom of movement enables us to embrace space as a true home, not a harsh exile. Just as important as the freedom to move is the freedom to be oneself. Our cultures, tradition, faiths, languages, and arts are the soul of our community. In space habitats, these elements will not just survive, but flourish in wholly new ways. Imagine a rotating habitat named New Gaia. It is home to thousands of residents from every corner of. Here, Russian families celebrate Maslenitsa with pancake feasts. Indian communities light
Programa aberto, pode
deep.
ver.
Sorry? Okay. Um, and indigenous people share ancient stories under artificial stars reproduced inside the dome. Temples, mosques, churches, and meditation rooms provide sacred spaces reflecting countless spiritual paths. At the same time, new space-born cultures emerge and evolve. They mix Earth tradition and space realities, celebrating the cycles of orbit, the dance of reflections on glass walls, and the unique artistry inspired by living suspended between worlds. People invent new festivals, music, and storytelling forms shaped by artificial gravity and zero gravity zones inside habitats. This cultural diversity thrives because free space habitats offer a political and physical ground free from many earthbound conflicts. There are no borders to fencing communities, only shared spaces built on common respect and legal protection, ensuring freedoms of faith, speech, and assembly. Education, arts, and media supporting this diversity help foster unity alongside rich pluralism. In fact, space habitats are beacons of a new renaissance, a rebirth of human culture, creativity, and freedom, unhindered by the limits of geography or history on Earth. This means that we need a redundant post-economic design. Kelly reports that 10 astronauts living there for months suffering from EDHs due to an excess of carbon dioxide on the ISS, of course. In another case, the air recycling system was in failure and the backup system was in a critical status too. So Scott had to work in precarious conditions to recover the system while cargoes from Earth were also experiencing delays and faults. In his already mentioned book Endurance, astronaut Scott Kelly claimed the insufficiency of some subsystems of the ISS, like the air recycling system. It was designed for a maximum capacity of 9 astronauts, although it provides oxygen for a crew of 6. The system recovers oxygen by processing carbon dioxide, while a high-temperature waste processing system breaks down trash into usable gases. The water recycling system was designed to provide fresh water for a crew of 6 as well. Space habitats must be safe above all, but safety does not mean austerity, it means redundancy. Should permanent inhabitants of space habitats suffer from similar limitations, life supporting systems should be designed upon a larger redundancy concept with more than just one backup. Life supporting materials such as water and oxygen in the first place should be dimensioned according to a very large redundant criteria. Multiple backup systems for air, water, power, and food keep communities resilient to emergencies. Redundancy is a technical term, yet it means freedom from fear, foundational for daring, creativity, and social trust. With nearly unlimited resources from the sun and space mining, redundancy can be woven into the design not as cold industrial clumsy practicality, but as elegant and beautiful features. Imagine rainwater fountains that recycle water through visible glass tubes artfully integrated into parks. Generators concealed beneath bands of greenery hum quietly but reliably. This opens the door to what Howard Bloom called flamboyance, not frivolous extravagance, but a joyful expression born of abundance. Living spaces become vibrant mosaics of colors, textures, and design. Light fixtures dance like celestial bodies. Wall murals tell cosmic tales. Music floats through delicate canals. Why flamboyance? Because abundance itself transformed how people live. No longer scraping to survive, communities can afford diversity. Multiple cultural centers, vast greenhouses, growing everything from everyday fruits to special crops, playgrounds in every corner for children and adults alike, theaters and concerts stall halls echoing with the sounds of many words. Flamboyance rejects the grim aesthetics of sufficiency and evokes the spirit of human creativity uh, unleashed. So far, the design of space habitats, orbital space station, was intended to satisfy some essential requirements, such as isolation from the void of space, safety, and enough room for scientific research. The intended users were military astronauts to be there for missions no longer than 6 months, in a few cases 1 year. Howard Bloom, the case of the sexual cosmos, uses flamboyance as a central concept in his theory of creativity, complexity, and evolution, both biological and cultural. Flamboyance is not mere vanity or showiness, but a principle of innovation. Flamboyant traits like the peacock's tail evolve not for practicality, but because they attract attention. They signal vitality, creativity, and surplus energy. Flamboyance then is an advertisement of aliveness, proof that an organism is strong enough to invest energy in beauty or display. Flamboyance is how evolution takes risks to produce progress. Artists, inventors, and visionaries use flamboyance to draw attention to new patterns of thought. Cultural flamboyance through art, architecture, fashion, or ideology accelerates social and intellectual evolution. Flamboyant acts stand out from the background noise of conformity, functioning as mimetic attractors, ideas that spread by standing out. Flamboyance keeps societies from stagnating, testing what novelties resonate and survive. It pushes humanity beyond mere survival toward meaning, beauty, and exploration. In this sense, flamboyance is the evolutionary engine of creativity, life way of shouting its existence into the future. Civilization advances through flamboyant acts of imagination, people and movements daring to be excessive, visible, and new. The Renaissance was an explosion of creative display. Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci declared human divinity through art. Mozart, Beethoven, and jazz expressed emotional and technical flamboyance, reshaping taste and thought. From Versailles to Bauhaus, the modern pop culture, flamboyance drives aesthetic evolution, a form of symbolic competition through which new cultural genes memes spread. Even science progresses through acts of intellectual flamboyance. Galileo, Newton, and Einstein broke orthodoxy, redefining humanity's view of the cosmos. Flamboyance ultimately is how the universe explores its potential through us. So, um, on my last slide, of course, building a space economy is going to become reality, out from science fiction. So we can have industrial and resource development on the moon and on the asteroids. We can have in space manufacturing, the recycling orbital debris, and producing propellant in space from debris and from in situ space resources. Lunar and asteroid mining for will feed self-sufficiencies and economic growth in a greater area that we can call the greater Earth, including the Moon and the Lagrange point and the Earth magnetosphere. This will give birth to a new human era. Rotating habitats will be hubs of health, freedom, and beauty, and the space is the next chapter of human creativity, culture, and evolution. Last but not least, I want to invite everybody to our fourth World Congress of Space and Essence International. It will take place next year, 2026. It is already possible to register to the Congress, to submit an abstract for a Congress document, a paper, and you can see the call for papers on the website of the Congress. That is 2026.spaceandessence.space. Okay, this is all for today. Thank you very much.
Okay, Adriano, thanks so much for your very interesting presentation today. Also, we are here with the conductor Marius Montzak. I don't know if someone has some questions about the presentation. Yeah. Um, Conductor Marius is in Canada. It's early morning there. It's like yes, it's a beautiful sunrise. Yes. Oh,
I just wanted to say it's Jay here. Hi everyone. I just want to say I really thoroughly enjoyed Adriano's presentation. I really like the positivity of it, the flamboyance, the not just going into space to survive, but to thrive, and just all the different aspects he covered was just very inspiring. And I just wanted to I missed some of the first part of his presentation, and I wanted to just ask if he's had ideas on leadership, government, banking, police. All of these things are part of a functional community, and if he touched on any of those, and of course food production as well. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions. Of course, very to the point. I think that there are two initiatives on planet Earth now that are very promising, and they are Artemis on one side and the ILRS on the other side. Artemis is the coalition of now more than 55 countries, I think, to go to the moon and start working on the moon. So it's not only a point of not only we are not only talking about exploration and making science, but to start using more resources and for industrial purpose and commercial purpose. So this is very important because it will be the kickoff of the civilian space development, what we call civilian space development, that is very, very necessary for our 8.5 billion society. On the other side of the world, the International Lunar Research Station, promoted by China and Russia, is another important initiative. It collects about 15 countries so far. They also allow organization like Space Renaissance to be observer, something that Artemis doesn't allow. Space Renaissance submitted a proposal to both Artemis and ILRS, but only ILRS replied to us, and so SRI um, is now an organization allowed to observe and to make a proposal inside the ILRS and the scientific part of the ILRS, that is the DSEL. Well, what will it mean in terms of investment from public and private subjects? This is all to be seen. We don't have the crystal ball, but I think that if the forecast of the space economy is more than doubled in during the last 2 years, it was thought to be 1 trillion in 2040, a couple of years ago, and now they think about the economists think about 2 trillions in 2040. And in my opinion, this is still a pessimistic view. We in 2021, in our congressional thesis of the third Congress, we wrote that the space economy in 2040 will be probably 3.5 trillions, and it will clearly be the first. Already now, the space economy is leading the global economy. Is the only sector that keep on growing, while all the rest of the world is in of the world industrial lines is in a kind of depression, and so. I think that investment will rise very quickly. And also, I can say another thing that's a little bit futuristic, if you like, but I think that money in our global society is not anymore such a big problem. Money now, with electronic money are energy and can be simply directed. What do we need to generate energy? Energy. So the problem, also this problem can be reconducted to space. We have to start working in space, generating energy in space, making our big data centers putting in orbit to be fed directly from the sun. And there we generate energy, the bit in the bank's servers that are money to be used for big projects to save our world and our civilization. So this is my vision. Finally, the money is anymore a matter, a concrete matter. It is electronic, and therefore this is another degree of freedom, I think, provided that we have the political intelligence enough to use it in the proper way. This is always, unfortunately, the big question marks as we see what happens in the world with conflicts and wars and so on. Okay, I don't know if I have.
Okay, one last question from Sheila. I will ask you about not long answer because we have like a presentation of the conductor Marius with us.
Of course. Sorry.
Okay, Sheila.
No, mine is really quick, Professor Adriano. I would like you to put again the QR code for the call of papers and abstracts.
Okay. Yes.
If you can send it to Julio and he can put it on our WhatsApp.
I
that?
did the print. I did the print and I share in the groups. Okay.
Oh, okay, great, great, perfect.
Just this the print of the last slide showing the different QR codes. Yeah. Also,
Yes, yes,
Adriano,
yes. That's
also
perfect.
Adriano
Thank
is
you.
also sharing again. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Here it
Yes.
is. Can you see it?
Yes, yes, yes. I already got it. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank
Very
you.
well. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I really recommend the applications for the World Congress.
Audio, resende.
Yeah.